Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the Lorman Project here, where we're doing kind of a special episode of doing the Final Fantasy V Yoshitaka Amano inspired mid project, which I've still never shortened the name of that. It's just what it's always going to be, I guess. Where, as of right now, as you can see, different background all that behind us. That's because I'm recording this on Christmas over at my parents' place. So, different location this time. Different things going on, but we're going to try to do the same dealie we usually do. So, lately, over the last couple of projects I've posted, I've seen a lot of new views that I usually don't get on here. So if you're new to this, if you're new to Lorman Project, if you're new to finding my channel, and you're interested in stuff, unlike most kind of model making channels, where they finish a project kind of all the way through, they kind of have a time lapse kind of going through step by step. So you may condense like a 50-hour project down to like 20-minute segment going out. The way I approach these types of models is we're going to follow along the entire process of making one of these guys. So I've already done 6 segments before. You can see we now have a globe, which is complete, and just last time we did the beginnings of the astrolabe area. And yeah, like I said, this is being recorded on Christmas. You can see nothing is done because this is going out on Saturday right after. So that is where we are right now. That is, which also means throughout the process of these things, you're going to see a lot of things that go right. We're going to see a lot of things that go wrong and have to fix things as they go. And it's showing the process of how these are done and the thoughts of how a lot of design decisions are made. It's not just piecing together pieces. We're going to show you how we make the pieces that we then fit together. So that said, because I live in an apartment, and because I'm not in an apartment type situation anymore, I'm actually in a house, which is great, I can make a lot of noise down here. So rather than continue with the astrolabe part that I'd done before, which off camera I did start kind of doing more of the I-beam sections in here, we're going to go ahead and jump onto the base of this project. So give me 1 second here. So if we pop this guy over and we look over to the side, I'm actually pointing the correct direction for once. This is rare. But I think I want to do the base portion on this, if only because I can get a lot of the noise stuff out of the way, and that's going to help influence how thick or thin I want to make these. I can keep these in I-beam. I can shrink it down to like a T-beam if I want to give this a little less weight to it. And so I want to do a little back and forth between the base and this to kind of see if I can feel just what feels right as we go. This is one of those types of projects where we're going to kind of feel our way through some of these design decisions. As we do one element, it's going to help influence the next, will help influence the next. So as we come on down to what we have situated, let me move this thing back out of the way because it's blocking half the screen, which is probably not good. And I apologize for the glare on here. I have moved this thing all over the place. It's just, no matter what I do, this wood is shiny. And it just kind of is what it is. But as we can see here, I've already done kind of a quick drawing on there. If you look at the image on the side here, you can see the base, or that of the globe, is actually wider than the base itself, from what it looks like. So if I have a globe that's roughly 6 inches wide at this point, I'm going to start with a 4-inch wide base, and it comes out, center of gravity is about 1 inch from the end, and it comes out about 8 inches total. So what I plan to do is cut this out, and then I need to trace this and cut it out again. Because again, if I bring you up over top, the base itself, the thickness, winds up being between both the top layer of the base and that kind of more mechanically layer on the bottom, about 1 inch, it's like 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches thick. And unfortunately, when I first thought I did this, I thought the top half was 3/4. The top half is actually about 1 inch thick. So I need to cut this stuff out and get it prepped, and then off camera at some point, we're going to be gluing these two pieces together, clamp them together, have them like sit overnight, and then we can actually start carving a lot of the base stuff itself. So it'll be good. It'll be worth getting this kind of started right now. So then the next step I can then go and work from there. But that said, let me put this camera down. I'm holding it in my hand. That's not good. If we take our friend the astrolabe, I can take this apart at this point. Nothing has been glued. We had said our master plan was, let me slide some things over so you can see what I'm talking about here. So our, sorry about that, camera is hard. our master plan was I wanted to make a groove in the bottom so that I could slide this, which would be super cool if I didn't have you over top of the camera. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated right now. This is not my usual environment. So I'm going to make a groove that I can slide this into, and then we can glue the heck out of that. It can be stuck in there. I have plenty of wood up top here, as you can see then, to kind of mold down and carve as I see fit. But we're going to have enough in here. So before I cut this out, we need to work on order of operations. So before I cut this out, we need to carve the groove in the bottom, and then I can cut this out. And give me 1 second, I can show you why we need to do it in that order. And that is because if you've ever used a router before, let me just pop this thing up, send you away here. So if you've ever used a router, there are two different types of bits you can have on these guys. You can have what I used. If you saw the Kai-Shulin base, we have a bit similar to this. We have a little round part on the end. The round part will hit a piece of material you'll have. It'll just roll through and it won't let you cut any further. It's great for making edging situations, and that part works. We also have ones that don't have the round bits. This means you can just plunge it into the wood and you can go wherever. You can scroll whatever you want. But if I want to have a dead straight line on this, we need to give ourselves a guide. So all we do for that is you can screw one of these guys in, screw one of these guys in at the end of your router. You can just slide one of these on, unscrew the edge. I haven't had to use this in a while. I didn't realize I started with things. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. I'll always screw things in the wrong way the first time. And you can have a guide. You can then kind of go and set where we want. But if I were to cut this circle, kind of semicircle base out first, I no longer have a straight edge to use the guide. So I need to go route the bottom of this and then come and cut that through. And I'm going to do that off camera because, again, I'm not going to make the same mistake like I did on the Kai one, because I am not sound balanced at all to be doing power tools on camera. So give me a second. I'm going to set this up. We're going to cut through here. And when we come back, we're going to have that groove. We're going to have these pieces cut out. And then we're going to go from there. So hang tight. I will be right back. Where is this? All right. All right. And we're back. We have our two pieces cut out here. Everything is all in good. And if we put these guys together, as it's going to, where are we on camera? There we are. We do have a little slot that we can stick this in there, because as you can see, made my little slot in the bottom. I can just stick this guy up in here, and once we sandwich it between, it has now all the structure in the world here that we need. And actually, I can say all the structure in the world because we have the world. And if we stick this in here nice and neat, you can see it doesn't fit. And that's entirely, we knew that was going to happen. We know this isn't going to fit in here. And that's because you remember from previously, and if you look at the image on the side over there, oh, sorry about the finger, if you have a choice between, if you're at work, if you have a choice between hitting your finger with the hammer and not accidentally hitting the finger with the hammer, don't do it. The finger itself is now 100% fine. The nail is growing and all that, but it's going to look like this probably for months. It's going to take a long time for that to work its way out. So sorry about that and pointing every now and again. I need to put Band-Aids back on that again just to hide it from you guys because it doesn't look good. But any event, remember from before, the globe, if you look on the side, wherever the side image is, out that direction. Hey, there we go, that direction. It actually carves down into the base a little bit. So I would need to carve this base down to get to a point where we kind of flush your back into this. We need to go down about a 1/4 inch, maybe slightly over a 1/4 inch, to get the base deep enough so when the globe goes in, it's going to physically be sitting on here and good. So in addition to that, if we come back and show the big ones, it's a whole lot easier showing on this. If we're going to come back, if you're looking at the base itself on this, That's going to be the base itself. This whole edge part kind of curves in just a little bit, so we're taking a little bit off the edge of that. I'm not going to put the details on it yet, but we're going to go and carve in a little bit of that. So there's a little bit of rough carving to do on this, and then hopefully in the preceding sessions we'll be able to start doing some actual detail work. So for the time being, I'm just going to start kind of carving this top. I can do this with a skill saw, I can do this with any number of saws, but I think I'm just going to use Old Reliable of my Dremel here. It's going to take a little longer doing it with the Dremel than the other ones, but it's going to be safer, especially when working with a smaller piece here. Because if I want to do a skill saw, you usually need to kind of clamp one side and kind of carve down in as you go, and that doesn't leave much material to work with without hitting your hand or something else, or if you have a clamp down here without hitting the clamps. So when dealing with the smaller material, I'd rather just use my Old Reliable here, because it's just, for a safety thing, this will work. So our goal is to kind of start kind of carving this out and kind of keep going until we can actually get this globe in here nicely. But thankfully this is pine, so it will carve relatively quick. This will make all the dust in the world. You know what? My computer is not far away, so I'm going to go put my little dust shield on top of the keyboard area there and try to move my computer as far away as possible. Again, this isn't my usual kind of setup, so I need to move some things around to make it all work. Now, if I had a lathe or something, this would be maybe a little bit easier. I could do a lathe and just kind of work off of that. But I don't have that option, so... one more thing I forgot to do is, where did I stick this thing? I do have a mask. I should probably be wearing the mask during this. This is going to create some dust. Alright, here we go. Yes, I figure while the other guys are doing kind of their own thing right now, I'm just taking a few minutes to kind of see if I can get slightly caught up on these videos. I am way behind on the videos right now. That's why I'm kind of doing this here today, and not necessarily later. The whole finger issue here caused me to lose a week of time, so I'm a little behind where I wanted to be video-wise at this point. Yeah, so our goal is to kind of keep making a bowl kind of impression on this until everything kind of fits. Yeah, so if you're new to watching these videos, I'm a little more frantic today, I feel like, than I usually am. The opening spiel wasn't the greatest, but I'm in a different situation than I usually am. We're usually a little more on top of what we're going on, but just kind of bear with today. It's kind of just what it is. But we get those days. Alright, we have a little back and forth on these guys. Where's the bottom? I do have the hole in the bottom I'm kind of using as a guide. And every now and then I just kind of want to see... Okay, so I want to go down more than I want to go wider at this point. We're just going to keep doing them back and forth until this starts to kind of feel correct. So we want to go down here first before we go wider in the other directions. I'm not on camera. And actually, the center of the globe is the 1 inch in, so this is all going to get moved forward even more. But as long as I can get a start on this on camera, I can always finish this part off camera. And then really, once I get this base kind of in here, then I can definitely catch myself up, because then sky's the limit on what I can do. Basically anything. If I want to do the astrolabe part, I can do the astrolabe part. If I want to start doing the base and kind of go towards the legs and work in that direction, I can do that. If I want to make Mid himself, I can make him. If I want to do the books on the side, I can do that. So really getting this kind of started, getting this first section done, is going to be critical to opening up everything else on this project. Alright, I would have a little more length on that. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting really thin on this part. Now again, we're going to need to see, it will need to break through that eventually for this to ultimately work. But as long as we get ourselves the start here, yeah, range would probably be really nice for this right about now, but don't really have that option. Come on, carve down. Okay, now we're starting to get in there. You can see we got that breakthrough, which is what we need. Okay, we're actually kind of nice and smooth, which is good. I will be doing hand sanding and all that kind of after all this and kind of get things looking actually good. But again, if we come in here, we can see it's fitting now how we want it to. Now, I believe it has to get moved forward an inch, but we are close. There we are. Yes, at least now if I have this, it's still not going to fit because I need to be, the center of this needs to be the inch forward. So, I need this divot to extend to here, and then move it forwards. There's a decent chunk of more cutting to go. But we're getting there. And this is part of the fun, so if you don't want to see the carving stuff going on here, you can always fast forward the video a little bit. This is probably mostly what the video is going to be. I might do other stuff, I don't know. But I'm just trying to get myself a head start for next time's time. And that's really what I'm going towards. I probably could also just grab myself an orbital sander and use that to come down here as well, and that would also work really well. But I have the Dremel on me, so I might as well use it. Yeah, this is a big one. Once I get this, I start seeing proportions. You start seeing how the elements work with each other. And it all just kind of goes a little smoother at that point. I can then make this will inform a lot of decisions to be made in the future. Even with the mask, although work may not be helping that either. I have enough stuff in my system from work. But you're dealing with putting fireproofing in an attic unfinished with a foot deep of blown-in insulation on top of the rafters, and it's just, that's not helping either. Let's see, so I need center to be something-ish like that. Alright, so we need to go further forward on this and down. So we're working our way there. I gotta come still further still. How are we doing on time? 21 minutes. Yeah, this is probably gonna be on the shorter end. This might still be like a half-hour session. I'll go a little bit further. And then next time we'll kind of take it from there. One sec. Oy. Otherwise, I'm going to be sneezing the rest of the day, and I don't want to do that because, yeah, I just don't want to do that. Would be not good Christmas if I do that. That, trying to make it symmetrical. Symmetry is kind of always the goal in this type of thing. Okay. We're looking like something. I might as well do that because I know that has to be where it is. So. And if I know that part has to be that deep, I might as well get that part that deep, right? Instantly. Yeah, I apologize for not much side banter on this one today. That will come at some other point in time. Maybe next session I'll have a lot more side banter to do. Right now we're just kind of doing. I did bring some of this just to kind of. Alright, let's get that out. Again, we do want to see that groove. That's going to be 100% fine and expected and what we want. So I think we're getting close. I don't think we're there yet, but we are getting close. And again, once this thing goes in, that will help inform almost every other design decision we have going forward. so it feels nice and smooth. That's part of the battle. Okay, this is good. We can see the intersection part there where the things come together. That's good. Whoop. We're getting to a point where, yeah, we're starting to get to the point where it kind of fits in there. This is no longer touching the globe. It is away a little bit, and that's kind of what we want. Now, I didn't expect to have that much space around it, and actually I need to go a little wider on the side now. Deeper is fine. I do need to go a little bit wider to have it drop in. So, we're getting there. We're getting close. We're getting real close. Depth is good, just a little wider on the side. Alright, higher speeds than that. How are we doing on time? 26 minutes. Okay. Okay, at this point I think there's going to be a decent chunk of kind of back and forth. Maybe widen out, deepen a little bit, pop the globe in, widen out, deepen a little bit, pop the globe in. And eventually we're gonna get there. Like I said, this is one of those key, super important parts. Alright, so you have that there, that there. Our globe can fit in here. I can pull you back a little bit. And there we go. We have the beginnings. We have our sled kind of up here. I feel like I still want to move the globe slightly forward. This feels like it's a bigger space than I need up front. But I'm going to do some more measurements on that. But I'll be honest, I don't think this mask was helping this time. And my nose is going a little nuts right now. So I'm just going to stop it kind of right here. And then when we come back next time, we'll see. I might do a little. I'll probably finish carving this down so the globe actually fits in this nice part well. Now maybe doing this part up here up front. I do need to put some more channel kind of stuff in here so the other side one comes around. I could be finishing off the top. I'm not 100% sure where I want to go from this point, but at least now we are open to do any number of things at this point, which is fantastic. I like that. I like having options to work from. Because if I can't determine what I want to do design-wise for something, if I have areas that I'm not sure how I want to design, I'm always going to start with areas I do know how I want to design, and then when I finish that, they usually can inform how to work on the other areas I don't know. So if I don't know how I want to finish this off, I can do these, and that might give me an idea, oh, I can take an element from here and bring it up top and make it work, and that type of thing, which I think is super helpful. So even in your own case, if you have a number of things you know how to do and a number of things you don't, start with the stuff you do, and it can help inform the stuff that you don't. And that's just a solid way to go for any of your type of building projects you have or design projects you may have. So, alright, that said, I'm just going to leave it there at that. Let me bring my computer up closer so I can actually hit the stop record button. And yeah, next time could be any number of things. So hang tight until then. I'll probably back in my usual place at that point. but it was nice being here so I can get some of this kind of loud stuff out of the way. But until then, and until next time, enjoy.